But then if the next day comes and you're blessed for another try again. Keep trying until you do go in that direction.
Yes.
It's not about just snapping your hands and it's just done. It's about being there for the long run and tapping into your source, which is God, right? There's a great example in Luke chapter 22. And it's Simon Peter, and he's going and he's telling God, I love you, you're my guy, like, you're the best, I'm going to hold you down forever, right? And then Jesus says, prayed for you, man, prayed for you, that, you know, the adversary wants to sift you as wheat, but I prayed for you so that your faith doesn't fail, right? And then when you come up, when you're in Valor, you can go back and bring up your brother. Right? And so, what is God saying? I'm for Christ. This is like, look, I'm ride or die. This is my life. Like, I'm all in. But God is like, but the adversary wants to sift you. So if you think about sifting wheat, if anyone's ever baked bread or cake from scratch, you kind of have to like sift the flour to make it fluffy and have the moisture and all that other stuff anyway. So that's what the adversary wants to do to us. And how does he do it? He works within our fear, right? Because fear produces torment, and torment kind of reproduces after itself, and we end up doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And our children in our household see that, you know, and even with our husbands, and I don't know who's married or who's not, who has children or who doesn't, but even with our husbands, you know, you want something from your husband. You know, you want him to love you forever, right? You want him to look at you like, oh, you're just like, every time I see you, my insides bubble up and I feel amazing. Like, we want our husbands to look at us like that, right?
Right.
But then we realize there's a lot of other girls out there that may look and have a little more things than we have, right? We start
I don't know who they might be.
a little insecure, you know, we might get a little insecure, you know, he may travel a lot, you know, he may not be there, he may be in a winter season in his life, you know, it may be a lot of things going on with your husband, right? And it causes us to think, oh, you're fine, okay. And it causes us to think, oh, maybe he doesn't think I'm the best thing since sliced bread anymore. So what do? First, you may get a little salty. You're like, this guy, like, so what? I don't care. I'm his wife, you know. Or you can learn how to kind of play the game. Maybe you need to put on some red lipstick. Maybe he doesn't notice the red lipstick. The next day you put on some pink lipstick. Maybe he doesn't notice the pink lipstick. Maybe you've been changing your lipstick color for 30 days. And this brother noticed that you have changed your lipstick. Well, then that's when you got to put on a hill. You put on a lipstick, you put on a hill, right? You walk in the house, hey. He don't notice your heels because he's somewhere else in his mind. That's okay. You wear that same hill again. Then you might want to get a little, you know, adventurous, right? You know, you might want to, you know, do something else. So maybe you just put on a nice jacket, right? Got your lipstick, got your shoe on, you know, you come out from using the restroom, you know, coming out, oh, hey, how you been? He's looking like, what? And you just walk on by, nice little lavender, you know, scent, just, you know, hey, he's probably noticing 6 months later that I was wearing different lipstick and this new shoe that hurts my corn on the side. I'm working it out. Because sometimes you got to do that because you're clothing your household, right? We all go through seasons, you know, we all go through things. I don't want to be, here we go, you know. But it's about the process, right? It's about the direction. At the end of the day, everything in the world is against marriage. Everything in the world is against family. Everything in the world. I mean, kids now, they don't know what they are. They're everywhere. But God knows what we're supposed to be, right? And we have a mandate on our lives as women, as women.
Yes.
To be legendary.
Yes.
Right? How do legends exist? You know, think about King Arthur. Think about Harriet Tubman. Think about all the things that have been going on in our past. How do we know all that stuff? How do we know the stories? How do we know? Right? They're legends. Something that they did, their stick-to-itiveness, their unwillingness to give up caused them to be a legend in their own circle, right? So we can be legends for our kids, right? So my husband, his mom passed, And she was like a very introverted woman. I come from a family of extroverts. So I'm getting married, right? Everything is great. Oh, we're gonna be one big family. It's gonna be awesome. So I come in with my energy. I'm like, yeah, let's do this and do that. I'll do it first. And I do it first. And everyone in the room looks at me like, oh, she really went up there and did karaoke in front of everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, who's next? Nobody. That's who's next. We're just going to reinvent this moment in our lives because this was great. And you're like, oh, okay. Let me take that and, sit down and do something else. I don't know what you do after that, but you move on, right? So then I had to learn how to be in the room with introverts and how they are and how they act and how they process information and how they control rooms without talking and how they get things done and they have this silent power about them, right? So then his mom, she stayed home, so she helped me with the kids, right? She comes in, she's like, all right, well, I brought all these greens. She brings 3 bags of greens. They went to the farm somewhere. All these greens in my house, right? I'm from Philly. We don't have farms, really. So, bringing all these greens. All right, well, we got to wash them. We got to parboil them, and we got to freeze them. So I'm like, okay. I have no idea what she's talking about at all. Right? She takes them out, we separate them, we do it. She puts like a little bit of vinegar in there, and then she does all this, and we're breaking them up and put them, parboil them, freeze them. It's this whole process, right? The only reason I remember this is because she's a legend, because she's not even here anymore. But she taught me how to wash greens, right? Like, that's a legend to me.
Yes.
That's going to pass on to generations, and that's what I mean. It's not this big to do. You don't gotta save the world. You could just save your people, right? You can just be there for your people and share your stuff, share what you know, and how to process that information and own it and be okay with being a woman. Because it's actually a pretty phenomenal thing. I feel sorry for men sometimes. I'm like, because really, we own the room.
Okay.
We own the room. We set the standard. We do. We set the standard in our homes, and God has entrusted us with that. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing, but we got to own it. We can't be afraid to lose ourselves. We can't be afraid to give up some things, because the bigger picture is we're legends. And sometimes legends take an L. And sometimes, what if Harriet Tubman never even wanted to cross over all them times? She was like, look, I'm free.
Right.
I'm going to go back to my people. I got a kid out there. My husband's over there. I'm going to go get that dude. We're going to come over here. We're going to go up to Canada, and we are straight.
Right.
I'm not going back for y'all. Y'all don't want to be free anyway. You're ingrateful. Now, come on. But what she do? She got convicted. She had to have gotten convicted, right? God had to be all up in that. You're not a woman. There's no roads. We're talking about swamps and leeches. Girls, come on. We're talking about hair. We're talking about smelling like, Lord knows, she got to blend in with the elements here. We're talking about sand fleas, the Lord, just spiders and insects. She's sleeping out there. She's like doing her thing. This is a mandate that she has from God, and God gave us that same mandate in our womanhood. And we got to own it. We got to have that direction, and we got to go. We got to know how to clothe our household and be okay with what that's going to mean. Right? We have to. Like, I left my job and stay home with my kids now. I got a college degree. Okay? Yeah. Okay? But the bigger picture is I need to make sure I'm there. I need to make sure I'm present. I need to make sure I'm owning this walk. Because we don't have these little ones for a long time. We don't know how long we're going to have our husbands. My neighbor behind us, he lost his wife last year. He's a single man now with 2 little girls. We don't know how long we're going to have people to love them. So we got to love them with direction. We got to say, what's the purpose of our kids, right? What do we want for our men, right? We want our men to be what? What do we want our men to be?
Leaders.
We want them to be leaders. We want them to be strong. We want them not to be drunkards, right? We want them not to be womanizers, right? We want them to be able to stand in adversity, right? We want them to be able to be brave. We want them to be better, right? What do we want for our girls? We want the same thing, basically, right? We want them to be able to know when to stand, when to talk, when not to talk. You know, how to run a house, how to run themselves, how to take care of themselves, right? I feel like as women, it's easier for us to kind of train women like that because we know women already,
Right.
you know, but we can't turn a blind eye to it. We can't see a 2-year-old and say, oh, they're just 2, or the youngest and say, oh, but he's just the youngest. Like, he's just so cute. Look at him. He's just adorable. Look at him beating on that wall and writing on that wall. And I told him to sit down, but he's cute. He's just a baby. He doesn't know. You can't do that. Because you're training a child in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart from that. That's word. So that means if you're training your kid to be Bam Bam and them, guess what? Your Bam Bam is going to be a 30-year-old Bam Bam trying to get in your basement, rolling up in your sheets with your man, when Bam Bam should be out there getting his own stuff. But we got to train our kids to own their own stuff too. Make up your bed. Make up your bed. I'm not making up your bed. And I'm not going to accept the fact that you don't. I have a 3-year-old, and that little guy makes up his bed. Mommy, can you help me? Okay, I'll do one side, you do the other side. Oh, Mommy, can you do my side too? No. I did my side, you do your side. And if he does it wrong, you know what? You did that wrong. I'm sorry, Pete. You got to do it again. Because I'm training him in the way that he should go. Everything has to be deliberate, right? Everything has to be on purpose. Because that's our mandate as a woman. We're training little citizens. We're training little Christians in the world, right? So we got to own that. We have to clothe our household with that belief that when they get old, they won't depart from it, right? Without struggle, there is no progress because we're not going to get it right. It's not about being perfect, right? There may be that one day you decide you did not have a good day and nobody needs to mess with me right now because I need a moment. You need to say that. You know what, little Johnny? Mommy had one of those days where I lost my toy and I don't know where it is. And you know what? I'm mad. So I'm going to try to find it, but I'm mad right now and I need a little time. Tell him so that he knows when he's mad and he gets frustrated, he doesn't throw his stuff, have it kicking things around. Like, no, pick up your stuff. You're mad. Why are you mad? Okay, I can understand that. I love that red fire engine too. That was cool. Maybe we can find another red fire engine. Maybe there's something else that we can do. Or we could just be really mad that we lost our favorite thing and we don't know where it is. Because sometimes we do lose our favorite things along the way. Our best friend, our great job, our great house, those great pair of shoes. You know, like we lose things along the way. We're going to be stuck there? No, as women, we got to know how to get up, how to process our information, and how to pour that information into our kids because we're clothing our household. We're clothing our legacy, right? It's huge.
So huge.
But God believes in us, you know? Like God believes in us. So I feel like I wanted to tell you guys that. And also bring it into Proverbs 31 with our boys. I feel like Proverbs 31, it shouldn't actually be for girls. I feel like it should be for boys. After all, it's a king who's writing a letter to other boys.
Correct.
Right? And this letter was inspired by his mom, right? Based on what she told him and based on what she did, right? So if that's the case, since it's trickier for us to raise our boys, we probably should have them memorize Proverbs 31 because it tells men how to be good men and how to be good husbands and how to be good people. What does it say? It says, I wrote it here somewhere. I don't know, I'm completely off track. Oh, here it is. So, inspired by the king. Okay, so it says, don't waste time or strength on women who ruin kings, right? Don't guzzle wine or crave alcohol, for it could impair your judgment, right? Don't protect the oppressed, so protect people who are weaker than you. And then it says, speak up for the poor, speak up for the helpless, speak up for the people who are without, right? And then it says, praise your wife and trust her. I like that. And then it says, just in case your son is wondering how you can tell the difference between a woman who can ruin a king and a woman who stands upright. That's where we come into play, right? Our sons are watching us. When we flip off the cuff or when we internalize things and we don't talk, we're teaching our boys that that's what you need in a woman. Someone who is easily intimidated and who you can control if you allow your husbands to control you or your friends to control you. Or are we teaching them how to have a conversation and get to a good point, right? So us being humble is not us being quiet. Us being humble is walking in discernment and knowing when to talk and when not to talk, right? When to be loud and when to be soft. When to have a voice of power and direction, and when to kind of be like, okay, I don't have to be in the front right now. Like, we're good. Because our sons are learning what to look for in a woman because of that. And it's a deliberate process that we have to own as women.
Yes.
You can't give it to somebody else. We got one shot. We got a good 18 years for these little kids. And after that, we got to do some serious prayer and fasting that God's word will not come back void, right? That it's
Yes.
going to do exactly what it said it was going to do and accomplish what it said it's to accomplish. So we can't stray away from being a woman, right? We can't stray away from our legacy. We can't stray away from motherhood. And if we need help in that, direction in that, we need it. That's where God comes into place because he's our refuge. He's our guide. He knows when we're going to fall, right? Because that's exactly what Peter did. He denied him 3 times because it's the first time wasn't good enough. He was like, oh no, I don't know that guy. Like, I'm over here, you know? But God already knew that.
Yes.
He already knew he was going to fail. But he got up and he became a legend. And we talk about this to this day, right? So that's what God is expecting of us. We're not always going to get it right. You know, and that's not the point. I think the point is to get it wrong so that you can know how to teach our kids and teach our people how to get it right, or at least how to try to get it right.
Yes.
You know, and it's a progress. It's a progressional series of events that will happen to get you to your designated point, to get you to a certain direction. And that's you're clothing something. So you need to figure out what your direction is. Where do you want your family to be? How do you want your daughter to be? How do you want your son to be? Someone asked me a question. I let my daughter hang out. She's from New York. I let my daughter hang out with my cousins because I wanted her to know how to handle herself in the Bronx. And they live in Delaware. That's not the Bronx. So I was like, oh, okay. She was like, what do you think about that? And I said, well, I think that you have to raise your daughter how you will want her to be as a woman. You know, if you want her to be able to relate to girls who stand out on the corner next to a liquor store in the Bronx, then that's, you know, I mean, you have to raise your daughter for how you want her to be able to function, right? And that was my response. You can't tell somebody how to raise their kids, but you can say, like, you are raising your kids how you want them to be as adults. So don't be surprised if she comes in at 16 with a special gift for you. It's like, look, we're raising our daughters to have a standard. So either we're going to do it and we're going to own it, or we're just going to not and act like we're not seeing it. Act like we're not seeing when she tries to put on makeup and she's only 10, right?
Right.
Act like we're not seeing it when she starts stuffing stuff down in her undershirt.
Right.
Act like we're not seeing it. Why is she doing these things? What type of acceptance is she trying to get? We see these things, but we act like they don't exist. But that's not doing anything for our legacy. It's not doing anything for our household, right? It's not doing anything for us as women. Because
you mind if I ask? Well, you see it and you're trying and you're not hearing it.
hearing her response.
When I'm telling her, when I noticed that she's stopping names and she got to make a one, I'm like, you know, this is not good for you. You should be doing this. You know, don't do this so you should get looked at, or don't put on makeup because she's just too young, or you know, that beautiful skin, you're gonna mess it up, and
Right.
she's not. It's just going right.
So my daughter is 9, and when she was 7, I noticed a shift in herself, right? Just her whole person. She said she was fat, right? And I was like, okay, all right, so show me where you're fat. Right? My daughter at this point was very slim. She does gymnastics, so she's kind of muscular, right? My dad is short and stocky, right? So we are very muscular people. And so I was like, hold up your arm and let me see. You know, you're fat, right? So she showed me, and then I was like, well, why don't you make a muscle and try to do it again, right? So she tried to make a muscle, do it again, and then didn't really move as much. I'm like, you can't listen to girls who are telling you that your muscle is fat when they don't really know what a muscle is and what fat is, right? And so I say that all to say that I started noticing things when she was 7. And I wanted to understand what she thought. Why do you think that you're fat, right? Why do you think that you're not good enough, right? Why do you feel like you need to fill a void with something? Right? Why do you want to wear your hair straight and not curly, right? Why do you want to do these things? Oh, well, because, the girls look at me a different type of way or whatever. And it's like, if you don't get down to the why, right, you won't really know how to talk to her on a real level, right? It's like, I didn't start wearing makeup until I was older, but I know a lot of girls who did because they wanted the attention. They wanted to feel beautiful. They wanted to feel accepted. So if you get down to the why, maybe not just saying, don't do it, because she may just do it behind your back, right, like, and do that rebellious thing. Or you could just kind of relate to her and say, I understand how you feel. Like, maybe you want to do a little extra with your eyes, but let's take care of your skin first, maybe.
I got to the why, but she still did.
Yeah.
I mean, she always had self-esteem issues since grade school. Because, how girls can say things about you because you're prettier and popular and they are jealous. So they will tell her that she's not pretty and stuff. And and so I got to the why, but I still couldn't get to her to get to her. I mean, she stopped doing it now, finally, after being on her own for some time. Once we were in the job force. But for a long time, she falls back.
Has that. And I think that when it comes to that, and especially when they're older, you just have to tap into your prayer life. Like there's a point in being a parent where you have to just trust God and kind of let it go, because everyone's going to have to go through their own walk. Like everyone's going to have to go through their own direction and find their way, and God can lead her in that. If she's older, like, what are we going to do about our older kids? They already have developed their minds. They already have the things that they're dealing with. And so we have to just pray about that, and we have to walk in faith, because God can only change the hearts of man. Like our words can't. Sometimes our kids just going to have to go through. Like I really had to go through, at very young ages for me to get it. Because by the time my parents tried to feed me good things, it was kind of like, oh, too late, right? Like, I'm going to have to walk this out. So the only thing that they could do at that point is pray and then walk in that faith. I would probably just do that. I would just say, you know what? I think you're beautiful and I think you're wonderfully made, but you have to believe that now. Like you have to kind of own that now. And if she's a young adult woman, she's got to walk that out, like she's got to find her own inner womanhood, right? And God's going to have to help her do that, and as a mom, especially if she's older, you're just going to have to be there to help her when she comes to you. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question though?
In a way, it does answer my question.
Yeah, there's not going to be there's no fix, unfortunately, right? Like everyone has to have their process, like everyone has to develop their own story so that they can have their own testimony, and some people's testimony are a little bit more adventurous than others,
I feel it's probably my fear. I feel it's probably because of my fear of what happened to me as a young adult. And I didn't even dress like she dresses, and it was still happening. Fear, okay? Especially for my fears.
It does.
And I don't. It scares me because I just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and you can't walk in your fear though, right? So as a woman, we go through a lot of things, and I find myself kind of, I overly shelter my kids to a point compared to other parents because I want to keep them from certain things, right? But I also have to realize why for myself as a woman, what am I afraid of? Because we can directly plant things in our kids based on that, right? And if you're feeling that, the Holy Spirit, He will give you a little inkling on the inside to to make you feel like you're going the wrong way, but he won't make you feel condemned by it, right? So you can't allow yourself to walk in a fear based on things that have happened to you. You really need to fall before God, and you really need to give that to him, and then walk in a newness of mind, right? But this is a process for you, because your daughter is watching you. She's older. You did the best that you could do that when you were doing it, and that's it. Because God's going to fill in all those voids, right? Like, God knows everything that's happening to all of us, right? And so some things happen because God is orchestrating this whole thing, right? We are playing our part the best that we can. So if you, in raising your daughter, you feel like you were walking in a fear, and now you can see the seeds of your fear kind of manifesting itself out of her life, you give your fears, and if she see it, you have to fall before God. So that when she's ready and she comes to, you're still not walking in your fear. Because
That's
there's going to be another cycle of
That's
this.
it.
You got your first cycle, 18 years, they go off. They do whatever they do, whatever they do. You see them and you're like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why would you do this when I taught you this way, or at least I didn't teach you that way, right? But then it's a full circle. They will come around, right? If we are praying for our kids, they will come around because God said that they would, right? God said he gives us the desires of our heart. If we seek him first in his kingdom and his righteousness, he will give us the desires of our heart. And I don't see it as I desire for my kids to be a certain way. I see it as God is actually giving us the words to pray. He's giving us the desires of our heart. Like, we all want our children to be phenomenal people, right? Because they're an extension of who we are. And sometimes they fall short. So if they fall short, that doesn't mean that we necessarily failed. You can't be in that mind state. You have to be in the constant state of renewing your mind. The constant state of, I can see where my fear caused you to do this and that. And because of that, I now need to give my fear to God, so that when you come back around, I will be whole, so that I can help you redirect yourself. Does that make sense? So you have to trade your ashes. You have to get your beauty for your ashes. And you're going to have to pour yourself on the altar to do that. Because you can't pour new wine in an old wineskin, right? You gotta renew all that. You gotta get it away. And then wear it as a back burner. Look, I went through that. I had that fear for a long time, and I got over that. And I'm here to help you. Whenever we go through things, we should never walk in shame. Like, God puts us through things because he knows we can handle it. That's why we're still here. But sometimes it gets hard and we make mistakes, but you just got to continue the process to get to your direction. And your direction is, when you look in the mirror, you ask yourself the real questions. Who are you, but who do you want to be? And then that's your direction. And then you walk it out. And then as a woman, it's all going to come out of you. You're going to start walking in like this refreshed mind. But it's going to take time. And I don't say time like a week or a year. It could take years, right? Some people testify that their children are out in the streets for a long time before, but they come around, and that's the point, right? We all have to go through our process so that God can use us. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah.
Oh, my time is like up.